What we celebrate at Christmas time is actually one of the greatest miracles in the Christian worldview. Here's why. Hey, friends, and Merry Christmas. I'm Ash, your friendly neighborhood apologist. And on this channel, we often talk about different evidences and cases for the Christian faith. And there's a lot there. We talk about lots of miracles that demonstrate that Christianity is true, and we give the evidence, the reasons to believe these miracles actually happened, such as the creation of the world or the death and resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. But one of the greatest miracles that we don't often talk about is that of Christmas, of God coming to us. And it's a different kind of miracle because it's not just so much about what happened, but it's about the fact that it happened. It's just mind blowing that God would come to us. Why is that such a big miracle? Well, the miracle is this, that we were separated from God because of our sin. There's nothing that we had within ourselves to be appealing to God. We'd rebelled against him. We spat in his face by trying to be the God of our own lives and rebelling against his rule over us, doing life a different way and disregarding his good wishes and purposes for us. And yet, despite all this, we still long for something good. We still look for something beautiful. We just don't look for it where God is. And even if we did, we couldn't get back to it because we were separated from a holy God because of our sin. So we could never work our way back to God, despite what all the other religions try and teach. If you do enough good things, if you're a good person, if you do this ritual, then you'll earn your way back to God. You'll be good enough that he'll accept you. But because of our sin, all the bad stuff we've done, rebelling against God, there's not enough good stuff you can pile on top to make that disappear. It's ever before us. We could never work our way back to a holy God. The miracle is this. Despite the fact that that's who and what we are now, and despite the fact that we could never work our way back to God, he chooses to come to us. That's what makes Christianity different from any other religion or worldview. God comes to us because we cannot work our way back to him. And he comes to us in the humblest of ways, as a baby. He humbles himself to reach us where we're at, to bring us into restored relationship with himself. This is the miracle of Christmas. God came to us to give us hope and new life and relationship with himself. The God of all creation humbles himself and comes to us. And Christmas is my favorite season, but it's not just because of all the magic of the lights, all the family traditions, or even just what we're celebrating of God coming to us as a baby. But that's special because of what happened 33 years later. The God of all creation was nailed to a cross and died to pay for all our sins, the sins of the world. He took on the full wrath, the judgment of a just and holy God. He took it on himself so that we wouldn't have to take it on for all eternity. So that anyone who believes in him and trusts in him and what he did on that cross and rising from the dead can have new life and relationship with him, escaping the wrath of God and entering into a loving relationship that is without end. That is the miracle of Christmas. God came to us. He humbled himself to reach us where we were at. And then he himself paid for all our mistakes. That's the irony. You see, he lived as a carpenter. That's what he did as his career until his time of ministry. He was a carpenter, and he died by being nailed to a wooden cross. He's the God of all creation, and he came into his creation to die on it for us. Ultimate act of humility. He steps down to reach us where we're at, and he offers us new life and relationship with himself because he didn't stay in that manger and he didn't stay on that cross. He rose to life again, proving to be God, showing that he has authority over death. There's this quote from someone in Christian history and church history. He said, "Yeah, everyone who had ever gone head to head in the ring with death had always lost. But Jesus, he came out of that ring victorious. He defeated death. So now we can trust in him and have new life with him and relationship with a God who met us where we were at, who wants to bring us home with him. That is the miracle of Christmas. So, my challenge for you this Christmas, as you dwell on that, reflect on that, let that shape the way that you see Christmas through a new lens, through wonder and awe at a God who would humble himself and reach us. We were still his enemies. Romans 5:8 says that while we were still his enemies, he demonstrated his love for us in this: he died for us. So let us approach this Christmas with awe at the fact that God came to us. He humbled himself and reached us where we were at. And he lived among us. And he died on his own creation to pay for all our sin. Like a father who takes on the debt of his son or his daughter because he loves them. He did that for us. And then he rose victorious, offering new life. And that's the new life that we're now in. And if you've trusted in him, then you are now walking in relationship with God. And one day he's going to bring us all home. But until then, he's left us here with all these other people around us who don't yet know him, who don't have the same hope in this season that we do. So my challenge for you is this: as we try to follow and copy Jesus in the things that he did, as we try to follow his example, how can we do that in this season? He humbled himself and came and met us where we were at. How can we do that? How can we meet people where they're at this Christmas? Maybe that means calling up that friend that you haven't talked to in a long time, and maybe your friendship has kind of dwindled. Maybe it's calling up that sibling or meeting up with that sibling that, you know, your relationship over the past year has been a little rocky. Maybe it's going and seeing your parents. And maybe there's been brokenness there in the past, but maybe it's trying to restore that relationship. Maybe it's hanging out with someone at your church that doesn't have a family or a home to go to. Maybe it's inviting them in. There's so many people that you can reach, but you have to meet them where they're at. Because so long as we live in our own little world, in our own little life, very little is going to change. And very few new people are going to be reached and loved. We have to go out of our way to meet them where they're at and to love them and share the hope that we have. Because we have much hope indeed. And this season, we get to remember that and reflect on that. So that's my challenge for you guys this Christmas. Who can you go out of your way to meet this Christmas, to share the hope and to share the love that we've been offered so bountifully by a true and loving God? That's my challenge for you guys. And that's my own reflection as I've been just thinking about the Christmas story over the past week and preparing for the season. They'll be around family and friends. And I want to go out of my way to reach people where they're at because that's what God did for me. So I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.